Howdy y'all. Hope you like my new background. We're getting later hours of daylight now, so I'm hoping to take advantage of filming outside a little bit, although my allergies aren't too happy about it. But anyway, this kind of reminds me of old school when I was back in Seattle. I use this for my background quite a bit. This is it's actually a dog sleeping bag I got on clearance. But today's video is about big knives, and one in particular, the ColdSteel Machete. Now, any of you guys know me, I'm not a huge big knife guy, and in fact I did not purchase this. I got this from Josh Sloan, 1982 I believe. I will have to annotate it up there. And I won it in his zombie contest video, and it was a fun one to make, where Max doesn't like zombies, if any of you guys have been around and remember that video. I'll put a link right there to that just so you can have a little laugh. But as any zombie killer knows, you need to have a machete, and a Kukri machete is a very good offensive tool. And it was nice, but not being a big knife guy, I never really kind of got it out. I did have to take, now you may have seen Crockett 20, nothing fancy out there with the Kukri machete. There's two different high-end versions, I believe. They're about 160, and then there's a Sanmai 3 version for like $300 or something. This is not that. This is the $25 bare bones basic ColdSteel version. But saying that, you'll see there's a pretty nice shiny edge, although I've got a bunch of tree sap on here. The edge on that was very rough, very unfinished, and really kind of just a blunt instrument. To refine that, the easiest way, obviously to make sure you don't heat up the blade, is I just took a flap disc off a grinder and just smoothed that out. And it took about maybe a minute per side. I mean, I didn't go too quick because I didn't want it to heat up. I kept checking the blade, letting it cool down. And really made quick work of putting a smoother finish on there so that you can get an edge on there. And that sucker, I mean, you can hear it. It's grabbing my skin right there. Now, I believe this is all carbon. I believe it's a 1055, a little bit softer than the 1095. And what you can see is it's got a good amount of flex to it. And what I found with this hard rubber handle that it comes with is using it on extremely dry hardwood, you're going to get a lot of shock and vibration up there. I put this lanyard on when I first started trying it, so I haven't put anything fancier on there. But this has worked. It's just paracord knotted. But I do recommend a lanyard with it. Obviously, this is a little bit lighter swinging around than an axe. And after playing with it quite a bit, again, it was just sort of a novelty. I kind of played around with it a little bit in Seattle. Never really gave it too much thought. And lo becomes all this snow we got that knocked down all these trees. And I wanted to have a way to clear decent sized limbs and branches, and so I started clearing off little branches and little limbs and some pine and some alder and some different things, and man, did this make quick work of that. Again, harder, thicker wood, even batoning with it puts a lot of vibration up the handle, so it really depends on the outdoor environment that you want to be using something like this in. But I gotta say, I'm sold. I'm going to roll in a couple pictures and video right now. So here's a look at the tree as it fell. I'd only trimmed just very little off there and decided to use a Kukri to process the whole tree. And like I said, man, it worked better than I ever thought it would. Now, for the most part, some of these thicker branches like that one, I'm just delimbing. I'm going to chop those up for firewood later, and then of course I'll have to take a chainsaw to the whole tree. But I wanted to get everything in manageable pieces so that it could be burned and processed. And here, about 3.5 hours, the entire tree is bare. That was one of the bigger trees. It was the biggest tree that we had fall during the storm, and it wasn't just a branch or two like we had on a bunch of other of the trees. This was the whole dang tree toppled over. And so without having to haul a bunch of it up to a pickup and taking to the dump, I wanted to burn a lot of it and process it into small enough pieces that it fit in the burning barrel well. I saved a lot of the thicker limbs for firewood, and the rest of it I'm going to go back with a chainsaw. So it's certainly not utilizing the machete to process an entire tree down to kindling that you would start in a fire. But I am really starting to lean towards trying this some more. As I mentioned, a lot of the drier stuff around here on the junipers, I can snap easily off with my hands, get some gloves, and you can break stuff up by hand pretty easy. There isn't the need right now in the area I'm at to really pull down that foot thick log and have to process it down to the middle dry core. A lot of the stuff, even in winter, juniper has a unique thing where it kills off a lot of its limbs, and the tree keeps on pumping. So you have a lot of scavenging ability with the junipers, that you can really pull off all those dry limbs and get a fire going and have a decent amount of firewood for the night without processing a lot of wood. So because of that, and because of the success with this with juniper and pine, I may start carrying this a little bit more than my Grand Brooks axe or anything like that, unless I go back to more deciduous areas towards the mountains. But certainly out here in the high desert, what a great value to really process a lot of limbs, to clear away shelter areas. I did take the flap disc and square off some of that coating and square off that back spine. Let's see if I can swivel over here. The camera will swivel. But just pulling it off the back there. This is the mish metal, by the way, so you really kind of got to be violent with it, but really it just pulls off huge curls of the mish metal, and I like it. It's the bigger blade I can actually put on the ground. I can put a foot on it and really pull, a nice bit. I'm not dealing with the blade, the sharp end, and yeah, totally happy with it. Very impressed. So you got fire starting ability, you got nice steel. I will say there's a few times where, like I said, you put this into a log and you can just feel just that leverage. It is, very bendable. So I don't know how many thick logs you'd really want to baton this through with fear. I don't know that it would break, but I've had some great success with it. And man, did I not ever expect to be sitting here telling you guys about a ColdSteel Kukri machete. Now with that, this is also the first ColdSteel product I've ever played with, and it's really kind of put me on the fence to go purchase a few more. And you guys know that I'm not really a knife guy. My Gerber LMF has treated me extremely well, and that's sort of my go-to knife when I head off and want a good knife with me. I am looking for some backups. I'm building a few kits that I want to store in various places where all the stuff in the kit is like, it's a write-off. You don't touch it, and I do have a bad habit of dipping into various kits and then trying to reassemble them, and hoping that I would have all the kits available to make one giant kit in the need of an emergency and whatnot. But for the most part, it's setting up various hiking abilities and deciding what tools and firepower I want to bring with me at the time. And the sheath isn't all bad. It's held up remarkably well. I thought maybe these rivets would pull out of this plastic tip. It is kind of funky. You do have two snaps because the Kukri shape won't allow an actual sheath. But after playing with it a little bit, I actually like having it a little bit harder to put back in the sheath, because if it wasn't, you'd have this massive bulky sheath, and that's not fun for anyone. So the way they did it, I think, is pretty smart, and it's held up well. Now, I haven't ever carried it on the belt, just carrying it around the property and doing work with it, but yeah, I give it a thumbs up. For the money, man, you just can't beat $25-30. Check Amazon, check all your usual knife places, and look for the cheaper ColdSteel Kukri machete. Very impressed. So hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you on the trail.